What is up, everyone? Today we are doing a book haul video. And this is my second time recording this because technology consumes the day. But I'm using OBS to record this now, so hopefully OBS works. And yes, oh my gosh, I can see my mic is working and it's the proper mic. Oh, this is amazing. Okay. Anyway, let us begin. So first, boom, Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. And I mentioned this in my TBR. I'm doing a buddy read with Abby Salter, and the rest of my Discord and the live show me and Abby are going to do at the end of the month. So there's still plenty of time for you guys to read this. I'm still only halfway through. So far, it's pretty good. There are a lot of spiders, and the spiders are good people. Like, you know, a lot of people were throwing shade at the spiders before reading this, but, you know, I like the spiders. And the human story is not nearly as good as the spider story. Definitely hashtag team spiders. There's definitely some toxicity in the spider culture, some toxic femininity. You know, just because a female spider reproduces with a male spider does not give the female the right to just slaughter the male. These are very antiquated views on spider reproduction. So we've got to overthrow the matriarchy, guys. Team male spider liberation. And yeah, anyway, that's Children of Time. Okay, we're going to do all the sci-fi fantasy stuff first and then the non-fiction stuff right after that. Next, V.E. Schwab, A Darker Shade of Magic. This will be the April buddy read, and I'll be doing a live show with Lyra Bat. So, by the way, all these channels will be linked. And yeah, I have not read V.E. Schwab yet, but I hear like universal good things pretty much across the board. So I'm very excited. And yeah, so this story takes place, it's kind of like a portal fantasy. There's 4 Londons from what I'm told. There's like Black London, where I think everything is dead or something. There's Red London, where there's magic. There's Gray London, which is just our regular London. And then there's White London, maybe. And yeah, I don't really know. So yeah, there's going to be some traveling between Londons. It says there's a Mad King, George III, on the back. We Americans hate kings named George, and kings in general. No monarchy. Overthrow spider matriarchy and overthrow the British crown. That is what we've learned from this video so far. But yeah, there it is. Darker Shade of Magic, V.E. Schwab. Next, we've got the May buddy read, which is This Guards Guards. And man, look at this book. It's so narrow. Like, look, this is Darker Shade of Magic, and then this is Guards Guards. Look how much, like, extra width is on the cover here. I like don't even know how to read this. Like, look, it's just like it's the most narrow thing I've ever seen. But yes, Terry Pratchett, Discworld. I'm buddy reading this with Joanna in May, and I know very little about these books other than a lot of people love these books. Alan loves these books, so I'm very excited to read these finally. And there's a dragon on the front. Who doesn't love dragons, right? This is great. And Dude, I don't want this to be false advertising. I really don't. If these books do not have dragons, I'll be very disappointed. According to the back, there's a book called The Summoning Dragons, which is missing from the library. So if they're just like looking for a book about dragons, but there's no actual dragons, I'll be so mad. So yeah, anyway, moving along. Next, we've got Book 5 of Lightbringer. I finally finished Book 4, and I've started this, actually. I read a few chapters, and so far, I like this one more than Book 4. I have high hopes. I know the ending for this is controversial, but yeah, I loved the first 3 books, particularly Book 3. And like Book 1, a lot of people like but don't love, and there's kind of like a certain I don't know, humor maybe sometimes. Like, there's a non-zero number of fart jokes in this book, and I've only read, like, the first few chapters. And also, the story's told mostly through this character named Kip, who is a self-conscious about their body teenage boy. So he sees the world as, like, wow, like if he sees a guy, it's like, wow, like, I wish my body was like that. And then if he sees a girl, it's like, wow, look at her, like, no girl could like that could ever go for a guy like me. So it's like normal teenage insecurities, but it manifests in like a way that talks about people's physical appearances a lot. So that turns some people off. But yes, moving along. Up next, The Bone Ships Boom. Yeah, this is Elliot Brooks and Jessie May's buddy read thing, and they're going to do a live show on this month. And this book I know has ships built of dragon bones, and it's like a pirate story. So that's exciting. Again, we need the dragons. If this is just a world where all the dragons are dead already and they're just dragon bones, that'll be so sad. I want actual dragons. Dragons. And look at this map. It's like a pirate map. It's not drawn super well, but there's a bunch of islands. I assume there'll be some island hopping in this book and some good sea battles and stuff. And look at the spine. Pretty cool. It's like red. All right, so that's all the fantasy stuff. All right, up next, boom, Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. This one I've started. It is my March nonfiction book that I'm reading with my Discord. Everyone else loves this, and I'm more in the minority of I like it as a friend, sort of. It's good, but I feel like it wasn't quite what I expected, and some of the promises in the introduction, I feel like she's not totally following through on. She gave herself a huge task in the introduction, but basically she's saying there's a group of feminists who only talk about women's issues, like reproductive health care and equal pay for equal work, and she's like, yeah, those are important, but there's so many other issues that intersect with women's issues. So, for example, poverty. Poverty is a huge issue that affects women. In this book, she does a very good job at framing these issues as women's issues. So, poverty, hunger. Later on, there's an essay on housing and something else. Education. I've not got to those yet. And then there's some healthcare stuff. And it also, of course, race. Mickey Kendall is black. So if you couldn't tell from the faces on the cover. And she talks about how, maybe it's different for a black woman in the United States than a white woman. Maybe they face unique issues. Maybe they face more discrimination. And she's really good at tying in those three: class, race, and gender. I would say she's less good at talking about LGBT stuff so far, at least. I feel like, at least. She does mention it though, and try to briefly intersect that, which is good. And imperialism also, she doesn't really get too into the weeds with that. I'm not sure if another country is mentioned in this book, but yeah, there's a lot of personal story in here. So here, think about it like this. So on one hand, we've got Malcolm, right? Malcolm, autobiography, very personal story. You're very into his life. Then on the other side, we've got the new Jim Crow. There's some personal anecdotes in here of other people that Michelle Alexander interviews or gets quotes from, but it's not too much. And the main meat and potatoes here is, a policy agenda. These policies hurt the African American community and lead to mass incarceration. And that's really the problems that this book's trying to explore. So on one hand, we've got personal story. On the other hand, we've got the new Jim Crow, which is, a policy prescription almost, saying the policies that are wrong and then coming up with the solution. How do I do this? I only have two hands. So Hood Feminism, I thought would be over here, right? With the new Jim Crow, maybe a little bit closer to Malcolm X, but mostly on the Jim Crow side. That's the new Jim Crow side. But in actuality, it's a lot closer to Malcolm X. So I don't know if my frustrations with this book come from the introduction of this book, making it feel to me at least, it would be more over here, or if my frustrations with this book, I don't know. Maybe I would be frustrated with this book either way. I don't know. But again, this is overall good. A lot of people are liking this. I know Books with Brittany actually said she's reading this as well. And I'm are you in my Discord secretly? Do you have an alternate Discord account? Where's my tinfoil hat? That's an amazing conspiracy theory. Speaking of conspiracies, we can't even call this a conspiracy because this was proven correct. Basically, at every turn, decade after decade. So, the Pinochet File. Look at this book. First of all, this is thick. I'm going to read this in April. This will be my buddy read for Discord because I just want to read it. And I'm the emperor of my Discord and I will choose what I read. And yeah, look at the inside of these pages. There's like redacted stuff. There's, you know, like open to a random page, it's like, you know, files and stuff, all sorts of declassified documents and stuff. And then, I mean, there's like regular pages too, like that. So yeah, this should be super interesting to read. This book weighs like quite a bit. Like this weighs as much as Burning White, Bone Chips, and Hood Feminism weigh about as much as the Pinochet File. And I don't know why this book is so heavy. I like literally can't figure it out. But to briefly sum this up, we've got this guy, Pinochet. He took power in Chile through a U.S.-backed coup on 9/11/1973. And he took over for President Salvador Allende, who, Allende, very cool. We love this guy. But then the U.S. didn't love this guy, obviously, because they participated in a coup against him. And the reason they didn't love Salvador Allende was because he wasn't really doing what U.S. business interests wanted. He was doing what like the Chilean people wanted, you know, just general democracy stuff. So yeah, they implemented this guy. Some may question, oh, why are you like interested in Chilean history now? And basically there was a feminista movement in Chile over the last few years with basically Chilean feminists and a lot of college students, and they still have the constitution that was implemented under this guy's leadership / dictatorship, and the people do not like this constitution. So they had a constitutional referendum vote late last year. I think it was in November, and the people won so hard against the dictator's constitution. It was like 78% of people in Chile were like, yeah, we need a new constitution. Let's not have like, you know, this socially conservative constitution. But the feministas in Chile actually did very well at expressing hood feminism or intersectional feminism, where they were tying in poverty and, you know, corporatism, and they were tying that into the oppression of women in Chile, and not just women, but like everyone. A few of the big things to spark these Chilean protests were, increased train rates or subway rates and, you know, bus rates and stuff, and cutting people's pension funds. So it's a very populist message to go against that sort of stuff. And I'll be interested to see next month, because like something is happening with the Constitution in Chile next month. So I'll be interested to see that. And heck, I'll know a little bit of Chilean history to maybe help me through it a bit. This isn't like a good Chilean history book, to be clear. I know that. This is like more of a very nitty-gritty into the Chilean dictatorship and how that ties into America and why America wanted this and what Pinochet got out of it. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And lastly, we've got Lula da Silva, Lula and the Workers' Party in Brazil. More South America stuff. Very interesting. It was funny, like a few months ago, I thought I was going to write more. So I started a Medium account, and I wanted to like have a general response to people who wanted me to read the Barack Obama book, and not just like Barack Obama's book, but like other centrist books. And I kind of just wanted a general response to that. And I like did have like a lot of interest in writing op-eds, and I still do. I like write like half an op-ed, and I'm like, should I publish this? I don't even know. Like people don't even know I have this Medium account. But yeah, the one article I did post was about me not wanting to read centrist books because I consume a lot of centrist news, and the things that the centrist news leaves out are left-wing populist movements, and by populism I mean what the people want. So Lula became president in 2002 in Brazil, and this goes over like his first years as president and what he did, and this goes over like the compromises he had to make with, or at least the ones he felt that he had to make with the financial sector and business sector and stuff, while also trying to help the people of Brazil. And, you know, top line, Lula got 40 million people out of poverty. He helped the economy greatly. He helped kids get educated a lot more. And yeah, he was just all around pretty good. And yeah, I mean, like everyone has their problems, and, you know, but he was all around like very good. He had like an 85% approval rating leaving office or something. And it's important now. I'm going to leave a video in the description below about Lula and what is going on in Brazil now. But basically they have this fascist president who is unfortunately supported either explicitly or implicitly by some of the largest newspapers in the world, including like The Guardian, The New York Times, and unfortunately by, centrist politicians such as Barack Obama implicitly supports Bolsonaro, unfortunately. And it just saddens me greatly. But this video by Nando Villa, I said that like a very white person. Nando Villa. That's the double L in the middle. How much of a white... Wait. Let's stop. How much of a white person can I be? Nando Villa? Okay, this video by Nando Villa is phenomenal. And it really describes what's going on in Brazil right now very well. And I do want to like learn more about South America. Oh my God, I totally forgot. Dude, I'm so rambly today. So the one Medium article that I posted, which I will link as well because, yeah. But I reference South America never being brought up by PBS NewsHour other than Venezuela. And the reason for that is because centrist news outlets, again, New York Times, PBS, whatever, all the people who are either explicitly, in the case of the New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and Guardian, or implicitly in the case of like PBS NewsHour, all of them are supporting Jair Bolsonaro, who is the fascist in Brazil, who's currently president. All of them supported him. And these like radically centrist news outlets won't talk about good things that happen in South America. They won't talk about Lula. They won't talk about the feministas. They won't talk about Bolivia. They won't, of course not. Look, they'll only talk about Venezuela because that is the country that most supports their radical centrist political agenda. And man, I can't get all into that today, but yeah. Anyway, that's a lot of nonfiction talk, a lot of me talking and rambling about politics. Also, Noam Chomsky has a quote on the back of this book. He's got a quote on the back of every book. It's so funny. I feel like I'm going to pick up like Game of Thrones or something, and it's going to be like, Westeros is now the scene of a dramatic confrontation of major tendencies of current history. This book is a fine record of the conflict. Noam Chomsky. That's my Noam Chomsky impression, by the way. It's not good. Look, some people say Gregory's Noam Chomsky impression is bad. Other people say it's horrible. But we all agree Gregory shouldn't do a Noam Chomsky impression. But yeah, huge shout out to Michael Brooks, actually, who is a now deceased political commentator, but he actually talked about South America and, everywhere in the world. But yeah, his work continues on. The Michael Brooks Show on YouTube still puts out some content, which is great. And yeah, that's everything. Sorry for babbling so much. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll be answering the questions on the Q&A video in my next video. So, if you have a question, comment on the video of me blow drying my hair or whatever the heck I'm doing, if you haven't done it so already. And yeah, see you guys next time.